Yes, we are the I.S.U.P.K out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahanna. This is tonight's Sunday night scripture breakdown class. I'm holding on for Officer Galawan. I am priest and Officer Bariat. And tonight we're going to go in a little bit into the truth about integration. You understand? Now that is something that the Christian churches promote, but it's something that the Most High hate. So first we're going to get into why integration is something that the Most High hates and what is the dangers about integrating.
Right.
So again, the book of Joshua 23 and reading from 11 down to 13.
Book of Joshua, chapter 23 and verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Most High, your power.
Go ahead.
Verse 12. Else, if ye do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you.
Go ahead.
Know for a certainty that the Most High your power will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land which the Most High your power had given you.
Right, you understand? So this year would have been the time when the children of Israel would have been under Joshua, and the Lord would have let them know not to mix with these races of the land. In verse 13 he say, and know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes. So for certainty, they will become a trap unto you. Right. You understand? The nation of Israel is supposed to stand alone, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Right? So now we're going to go into the scriptures and find out how you just know what nation you belong to. You understand? Because it's important to know that. If you don't know that, you wouldn't know what nation you belong to, because you can't just watch at a man and say, well, you understand, this man is an East Indian, or this man here is a white man. It have a method that the Lord leave for we to know who is who.
Right.
So we go into Numbers 1:18.
Book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, 20 years old and upward by their polls.
Right. You understand? So basically what the Most High let we know, that it is determined the pedigree, which is your bloodline, by the house of your father. Whoever your father is who you are. If your father is a so-called Negro, even though your mother might be an East Indian descent or Chinese descent or any other nation's descent, it matters who your father is. Whoever your father is who you are, according to the scriptures on them, right? So this is something that is important to note. So now we're going to go into a scripture that's going to identify a nation of people that is outside of the nation of Israel. And this is a nation that the Most High hates. You understand? The main nation that the Most High hates out of all the heathens and them. So we're going to touch on this nation, some of the characteristics and why it's important today in this world of integration to stay away from this nation. Now that you know, you understand, you determine your pedigree by the house of your father. Give me Malachi 1, and we're reading from 1 down to 5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you script again, my question?
Can. Malachi 1, and I'm reading from 1 to 5.
The book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 1. The burden of the word of the Most High to Israel by Malachi.
Right. Pause right there. You understand? So note, he say the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel. You understand? This to a specific nation, who today would be the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. This is not addressed to everybody. You understand? So we cut in that Christianity one time. You understand? This not addressed to the Chinese, nor to the white man, none of them. To the 12 tribes of Israel, which is the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Go ahead.
Verse 2. I have loved you, saith the Most High. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us?
Right. Go ahead.
Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Said the Most High. Yet I love Jacob.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And I hated Esau.
Right. You understand? So the Lord is defining that Jacob, you understand, who would be Israel, you understand, the forefather of the Israelites, who would be the nation of Israel, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. He loved that nation. And on the other hand, the nation of Esau, which is the so-called white man today, the so-called Edomites, he hated that nation. Go ahead.
And laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Most High of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness.
What you should call them?
The border of wickedness.
You understand? We should call these people and them, the so-called Edomites and them, the border of wickedness. You understand?
Right.
Go ahead.
And the people against whom the Most High had indignation forever.
Right. You understand? Indignation meaning strong hate. He has strong hate against this nation of people forever. You understand? So this nation of people is not a people that you should be following or integrating with. You understand? If you're a so-called black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Most High will be magnified from the borders of Israel.
You understand? The Most High shall be magnified from the borders of Israel. His people is the ones that are going to take up his heritage and teach his heritage throughout time. You understand? From the beginning of time to the last days. You understand? This is the magnification of the Lord, his people. So we're going to go into a famous person that black people like to always talk about, always play in music. They like to identify with him. So we're going to learn a couple things about this person and see if you should be identifying with him, his music, his message. We're going to touch a little bit on that now. You're going in. Yeah, that one first. Yeah.
Few figures have inspired the world as much as Bob Marley. As an artist, his popularity is right up there with the Beatles and Led Zeppelin. But as a cultural icon, he might be even bigger, and his strong beliefs were the product of his troubled upbringing. Here's the tragic real-life story. The history of Jamaica is a tale of both oppression and rebellion, with slaves pitted against colonial subjugation. The origin of Bob Marley was a microcosm of this bigger story. His mother, Cedella, was a descendant of slaves, and his father, Captain Norval Sinclair Marley, was a privileged white politician working for the British government. The power imbalance here is obvious enough, but to make things worse, he was 41 years older than her, as she was only 18 when they married. With promises of economic stability, Norval Marley manipulated Cedella into a romantic relationship. But as soon as she became pregnant, he hit the road. She named her son Robert, and though he carried his father's surname, he never felt attached to the unknown man who had treated his mother so cruelly.
Right,
as for Norval...
Right, you understand? So we get to learn that his mother was a poor young black woman, and his father was this white man, you understand, in politics, who used the black woman, had Bob Marley, but now all of this happened, and he looking black, you understand? To everybody looking black, you understand? So as another black person, you could identify with him, you understand? Well, you know, he look like me, you understand? But the reality of it is he not of the nation of Israel. He from a different nation. He from this nation that we talk about in the book of Malachi. You understand? Who they call the border of wickedness. You understand? So we taking now a look at integration. You understand? So people who wouldn't know the scriptures on them would say, I'm my brother. You understand? By just looking at the physical features. You understand? But really and truly, he's a part of the nation who the Lord say that he hate forever, disguised as an Israelite, but he really an Edomite. Go ahead.
Himself, he died when he was only 10 years old. When Bob Marley was 12 years old, he and his mom left the rural village of 9 Mile for the Jamaican capital city of Kingston. They set up shop in the Trenchtown neighborhood, one of the city's most economically disadvantaged areas. The Trenchtown yard, as it was described, was composed of cheap corrugated metal shacks, usually with conditions were harsh. Fights and stabbings were common. Everyone had to work hard to survive. During Marley's youth, Trenchtown street gangs grouped together into a bigger unit called the Rude Boys, which often got into violent battles with the local police force. Marley never considered himself a true member of the Rude Boys, and it's hard to imagine him being part of a gang, but he was comfortable hanging out with them. From an early age, he learned to stand up for himself and even earned the name Tough Gong. Years later, he used this old moniker as the name of his recording studio. By 1976, most of the world saw Bob Marley as a symbol of Jamaica. Within the country itself, he'd become a potent political force, and his every statement was intensely scrutinized, a burden he was well aware of. Jamaica had only been independent from colonial power for 2 decades. Resources were increasingly scarce, and tensions were getting hotter and hotter.
There was a level of brutality to the political violence that no one had ever seen before.
Political parties started begging Marley for his endorsement, knowing the weight it carried. He refused, preferring to stay neutral in the conflict. He'd already opened up his home in Kingston as a safe zone for troubled youth to get away from the violent polarization happening outside. Then, on December 3rd, 1976, a vehicle drove up to Marley's residence. An explosion of gunfire burst out of the car, and then 3 gunmen rushed into the house and tried to finish the job. They shot Marley, his wife Rita, and his manager before fleeing into the night. Though all 3 victims survived their wounds, the incident left Marley deeply shaken.
Just pause that again. So again, you see the craftiness, the billing are basically correct for this man to make you really feel and identify with him. You understand? A big assassination, a gunman come in your house and shoot you, your manager, you understand? And another person and nobody in there. You understand? But that is something we see after Bob Marley time. They just do with a lot of entertainers on them. They always have a rap sheet, and I guess shoot 9 times, or I guess shoot this, and I guess shoot that. You understand?
Right.
To basically build your image. Go ahead.
Reeling from his near-death experience, Marley almost immediately, during his 2 years of self-imposed exile from his home, he poured his creative energies into the album Exodus. The 1977 release drew parallels between the scriptural Exodus, his own tortured leave of absence from Jamaica, and his Rastafarian belief eventual return to Ethiopia, the Promised Land. When Marley finally made his triumphant return to Jamaica, he spearheaded the famous One Love concert. Though conflict and polarization were still burning in the air, he wanted to make a show of peace and unity. During a performance of his song Jamming, he invited the two biggest rival.
You understand? When he come back now, he spent 2 years outside touring among Edomite countries on them. When he come back now, 2 Edomite politicians fighting for power. He show a sign of unity amongst them. You understand? This is the deception that it is for amongst. These are we people. You understand? This is the deception that it is bring about.
Right.
Well,
political leaders onto the stage and held hands with both of them before a cheering crowd. But while his brain was doing good, his body was quietly working against him. And Marley injured his toe in a soccer game and noticed a small dark spot under the nail. He initially wrote it off as a simple bruise, nothing serious. But in reality, it was the first sign of melanoma, the cancer that would eventually take his life. After Marley's foot injury worsened, he finally got it checked out and the cancer was diagnosed, but he objected to the proposed treatment of removing his toe. Even though this procedure could have stopped the spread of the disease, variant code, which states that it's a sin to cut into one's flesh unless it's absolutely necessary. To Marley, losing a toe didn't seem essential. The only medical treatment he agreed to was a skin graft, which didn't work, and then a controversial diet-based treatment in Germany, which proved similarly ineffective. By 1980, his condition got so bad that he collapsed while jogging through Central Park and was forced to cancel his remaining live show. When Marley's cancer didn't go into remission after more than 6 months of treatment in Germany, he decided to fly back to Jamaica. Sadly, he never made it home. During the flight, his condition rapidly spiraled downhill. When the plane stopped in Miami, he was rushed into emergency care. He died shortly afterward at only 36 years old. His remains were brought to Jamaica and he was given a state funeral. 12,000 people came to view his body and another 10,000 waited outside. Decades after his death, Marley's popularity has only grown, though many of his friends and family fell into a series of lawsuits after his death, as he had to making a will. His enduring legacy is one of peace, love, and compassion. His message, his achievements, and his dreams will always be remembered.
There was something in this thing. I did something in it.
Check out one of our newest videos right now.
what was that? Right? So this is how that is used the blackface to fool with people through integration. You understand? So you see him stand up on a stage with them two white politicians on them and you think, well, you understand? He promoting peace and unity. He's one of them too. You understand? But just you have a black coat and them had the white coat. But all of them from the same nation. You understand?
Right.
So now we're going to go into another video with some of the things that he will have pushed through a message on our people. As we know, one of them would have been Rastafarianism, which had nothing to do with the people at all. It's an East Indian custom. When you're looking into the history, the Chinese also used to use it to smoke weed, the Japanese, the Romans, and them all in the sex parties and them in history. The Romans and the Greeks also used to use marijuana. You understand? That had nothing to do with the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. So we're going to go in more into it and see how we push these things on with people that have nothing to do with we people.
Rastafarianism is the use of marijuana as a central part of the philosophy. Officially named ganja, it's colloquially described by the Rastas as herb, and Bob Marley is said to smoke a pound a week. It's outlawed in Jamaica, and a convicted smoker can expect an 18-month jail sentence. Do you have to smoke to be a Rasta?
No. But in this time, I mean, like, for instance, you're reaching a sense where you're strong enough, you can take a little smoke. So when all them car pass, although you live in the city, you don't hear it because you're thinking. Differently, we just live so. Then, you know what I mean, the whole world confused you and you're worried and you don't have the time to think. And herb is that thing will give you a little time to yourself so you can live. You can use it. The more you accept herbs, the more you accept Rastafari. You think what I said? We who accept herbs. Herbism.
And around that time, the Rastafarian movement was something that was growing huge. You understand? So he's telling you the more you accept herbs, the more you accept Rastafari. So if you want to be part of that growing movement, then you had to accept the herbs. You understand? You had to start smoking. You understand? Go ahead.
Important, but herb is more important to the people who don't accept it yet because that is a reality. I mean, it's not selling something that you crave, but you check it in a sense and say, herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Why these people want to do so much good for everyone who call themselves governments and this and that? Why them say you must not use the herb?
Pause right there again. You understand? As we know, the priests and prophets in the I.S.U.P.K under commanding General Yahanna know that marijuana is a herb, just like other herbs in the scriptures, but it's for food, it's for medicine. You understand? You could use certain herbs in the scriptures on them, but not to smoke. You understand? Not to smoke. But even the scriptures on them tell you, a wicked man diggeth up evil. You understand? And in his lips is a burning fire. You understand? These things on them not created for you to smoke. And that is the deception that the nation of Edom basically pushing there. You understand? In terms of smoking marijuana. Go ahead.
And we take that and we can't find, we just see them just say, no, you must use it because you make you rebel. Against what? I don't care who the guy is. Because my right is my right, like my life. You know, all I have is my life. That means if I can say, I don't want that or I don't want this. When I check it out, the biggest man was a baby one time. So I don't know when get all these big ideas want to be rolled as one people. See? And helping force devil is can't dig it. Can't take it. We're rebels. We're revolutionaries. You know?
Is that the way you'd see yourself?
Yeah, this myself as a revolutionary. Who don't have no help and not take no bribe from no one fighting single-handed. The music. I don't come to bow, you know. I come to conquer. I don't come to bow, I come to conquer.
Right, you understand? So, a poor black person back in that time, seeing this man rising to that fame, penetrating the music industry, you understand? And everything that comes along with the fame, women, you understand? Going from country to country, always on the news, you understand? We idolize that lifestyle. I want to live that lifestyle. And go basically follow the things that he doing. If he say smoking marijuana making you wise, you're gonna believe that, because when you watch a he lifestyle, You understand? I watch at your lifestyle. You understand? I suffer and I get to me and nothing. You understand? And this man flying all over and he telling you about the benefits of marijuana. You understand? He's showing you the lifestyle that he living, that you wish you could live. You understand? You're going to think that this is the way. You understand? And it will influence a whole another generation. You understand? That's why after Bob Marley had a whole generation of singers that come up and was pushing Rastafarianism and smoking marijuana. You understand? A whole other generation, right? You understand? And it's still being pushed on us today through his descendants like Skippy Marley and them. You understand? It's still being pushed on the people. So it's important to know who your people are, who your customs, what your customs is, what your values is of your nation. You understand? And not be fooled with integration with somebody who looking like a black person, but they're not really black. You understand? And how you're following in error. How you're following after a nation who the Most High hates. You understand? He hates them and all other ways. You understand? But the tricking you to walk after them with a black face, or with a Hispanic face, or with a Native Indian face. But when you really trace back the roots, you understand? The seed is of that wicked nation the Lord talk about in the book of Malachi. Go ahead.
My home is always where I am. My home is in my head. My home is what I think about. How I try to set my mind in the thinking that I do. That is my home. My home is not a material home of somewhere. You know, my home is my head.
See all them people on the mini crowd, I know we people. You understand? They use the black faces around to make people feel well. That has something to do with me. Right. See, again, you understand? This smoking marijuana, that is the white man's culture, that is the East Indians' culture, that is the Chinese and the Japanese culture. That is not the culture of the nation of Israel. You understand? So, we as a people had a don't let the black face find out the heritage. You understand? Because of the games that are being played even to today. A lot of them black stars, so-called black stars on them, that you feel is of your people, when you really check out the pedigree by the house of the father, there is not we people. And they're projecting messages to we people, and we people would accept it because, of course, we poor in the ghetto. You understand? And if we see somebody up there as a star and we feel there's one of we, you understand? We're going to naturally accept the things that they're transmitting. A good example of that, even though he mightn't be a musical star, is Barack Obama. You understand? He is of the nation of the Canaanites and them in the Bible, which is the so-called South Africans and them. He had nothing to do with Israel. But he come in, and with the two terms, he promote homosexuality. He promote the same smoking of marijuana, you understand, through different states in America. You understand? And we accept it because why? We see a black face. We think that that has something to do with we. You understand? But that has nothing to do with we. Go ahead. And next thing to the music that I play, not even hymn music. That is music we stole from our people. You understand? But because he had the backing of a nation, he could manipulate things and make it look like, you understand, he's so great and he's a star. You understand? When he been pushed up easily by another nation, craftily. Go ahead. Right. You understand? So it's important for we to know these things on them, that we have to be careful at integration and the messages being projected to we people. You understand? If it's not under the I.S.U.P.K, under Commanding General Yahanna, it is not the truth. You understand? Today, the I.S.U.P.K is the only on earth that will give you the true identity, customs of the people of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Anyway, outside of that, you're going to be getting lies, either from the Arabs or from the nation of Esau or other nations. You're going to be getting their philosophy and their customs being pushed on you, right? So we're going to go into the scriptures again. Give me the book of Tobit in the Apocrypha 4, and I'm reading from 12 down to 13. Book of Tobit, chapter 4, and verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers. Right, read that again. Book of Tobit, chapter 12, chapter 4 and verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers. You understand? Chiefly take a wife of the seed of your fathers. Go ahead. And not a strange woman to wife. And not a strange woman to wife. When he says strange woman, he's talking about women of the other nation, which is not of thy father's tribe. All right, go ahead. For we are the children of the prophets. Read that again. For we are the children of the prophets. You understand? We're not just anybody. We're not just heathens. We're not just the nation of Esau. We're not just the nation of Elam. You understand? We are the children of the prophets. Go ahead. No. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that all fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred. You understand? So he gave me the proper way of how things supposed to be. You understand? Marry wives of your own nation. You understand? And you have 12 tribes to pick from. So you shouldn't have no reason to go outside of the 12 tribes to look for a wife. Go ahead. And were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. Right. Go ahead. Verse 13. Now therefore, my son, love thy brethren, and despise not in thy heart thy brethren. You understand? Don't hate your black man if he is a woman, or your black woman if he is a man. You understand? Don't hate them. Even when you have a little quarrelings and a little falling out with them, understand that is your people and you have to stick with your people. You understand? Because the East Indians and them understand that. The Chinese and them understand that. The Syrians and them understand that. Now you have to understand that. You understand? Stick with your own people. Go ahead.
The sons and daughters of thy people in not taking a wife of them.
Right.
For in pride is destruction and much trouble, and in lewdness, decay and great want. For lewdness is the mother of famine.
You understand? Don't go down that road and choose a wife of these other nations on them, or a husband of these other nations on them. You're going to be only breeding another Bob Marley on one hand, and on the next hand, as the Most High say, they're going to be snares and traps unto you, certainly. You understand? Certainly they're going to be snares and traps unto you. Because as successful as you might think you is with them, when they're encouraging you, the Arab woman encouraging you to serve she God, or the East Indian woman encouraging you, saying, well, I'm bringing you to Mother Lakshmi, you know, but I'm bringing you to Caesar Borgia. You understand? You will never find the true way. You will never find, you understand? Jesus Christ, who does say in English, Yahweh Shai in Hebrew, you will never find him. You understand? Married in these strange women or these strange people. You understand? You will never truly find him. You'll be lost. Give me the book of Exodus 34, and you're reading from 12 to 16.
Book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 12. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, whether thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee.
Right. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 13. But ye shall destroy their altars, break down their images, and cut down their groves.
You understand? So you let you know, don't make no covenant with these nations on them. Go ahead.
Verse 14. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Most High, whose name is jealous, is a jealous power.
You understand? So he let you know that he's a jealous God. You understand? Don't worship no Islam God. Don't worship no Caesar Borgia. Don't worship nothing that the nations and them present as God, or the customs of the nations and them. Don't follow none of them. You understand? Follow the things that he say, because he's a jealous God. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land.
Right.
And they go a-whoring after their gods.
Right.
And do sacrifice unto their gods.
Right.
And one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice.
Right. Yeah.
Verse 16. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons.
Go ahead.
And their daughters go a-whoring after their gods,
right.
And make thy sons go a-whoring after their gods.
Right. You understand? So they definitely going to turn you away to their gods and to their customs. You understand? So we was going through there and we see that what was being pushed on us by somebody who looked like an Israelite, but really was from the nation of Edom, and who you were saying, you understand, that talking about how good marijuana is, and marijuana dealing with Rastafarianism, and so forth and so forth. We're going to take a closer look at both marijuana and Rastafarianism, where it actually came from. You understand? Yeah, right. Yeah. At two of the tribes on them are India, and see where this custom came from.
They eat leftovers from human dead bodies. They drink in a bowl made of human skull, and they bear ash from a human fire. Known as the followers of Lord Shiva, these are the Aghoris. A place considered dreadful by others is home for Aghoris, the Hindu cremation ground. Out of the brain.
So there's the followers are Lord Shiva, you understand? And it's proven that the so-called Lord Shiva was the first person to rock a dreadlocks. You understand? Long before Bob Marley and the Rastafarianism message, you understand? Lord Shiva was the first person proven to have a dreadlocks on. You understand? Right. And also to deal with marijuana. These one of the tribes in India that pushing marijuana and Rastafarianism. Go ahead.
Various sects of Hindu priests, the most extreme and the most feared of all are the Aghoris. The term Aghori is derived from the Sanskrit word Aghor, which has various meanings. Aghor means not difficult or non-terrible in one perspective, and on the other, it means absence of darkness. Aghor implies a simple and natural state of consciousness in which there is no fear or disgust. But on the contrary, the Aghoris have rituals that are seen as being disgustful and are feared by common people. As per the Aghori sect, the true meaning of the term Aghori is one who is fearless and who does not discriminate. Followers of Lord Shiva, the most powerful of all Hindu gods and considered the destroyer, these Aghoris follow occult practices dating back to the 5th century AD. India is a land of various sects and religions. Out of its vastness of beliefs, the sect known as Aghori or Aghori sadhus is unique. Aghori sadhus are associated with cannibalism and rituals using human skulls and animal sacrifices. The practice of cannibalism and animal or human sacrifices are mostly related.
So another one of the messages is cannibalism. You understand? So these is the people on them that we taking knowledge from. You understand, with the Rastafarianism and the smoking of marijuana. You understand? They also practicing eating the dead. You understand? Like one of the customs on them. You understand? So again, this just touching and showing us how careful we have to be about following the customs of these other nations on them. And with that, we pass the class on to Priest and Officer Galawan.
Of course, there is the ones who ruling over us right now, because why sin against the Lord? Yeah. Come here in Trinidad and get acres of land, money, and then the white man open up an institution to develop the economic thinking. Right? You know, the time is coming up. Right? So we get into marriages here. Let me see how much. much I could get into marriage. Right? Somebody give me 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 5. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and 15.
Okay, so like I said, 2 Timothy.
Yeah, 2 and 15.
2 and 15.
Yeah.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 15. Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High.
Alright. So let's study to show thyself approved to the Most High. So when you go down to the streets, or you might be somewhere in a taxi, and somebody say something, you study to show yourself approved. So you could respond one time, especially if they ask you a question. You could respond. So a woman asks her, so why the Lord only allow man to have more than one partner, but the woman can't have? You can respond one time. Study to show thyself approved. So tonight we are going to marriages tonight. Right? Because in the I.S.U.P.K, we study to show ourselves approved to the Lord. So we have all the answers, just as what Commander GEN.YAHANNA was saying the other day. The vaccine, why people don't want to give you the vaccine? Our oppressors do not want to give us the vaccine. That's why they're spreading all them set of rumors and propaganda. And we, again, as Israelites, just believing in it, saying we go turn into monkeys or we might die when you get the vaccine. But they did already show the mostly even white people, if they wanted to kill us out, why they hardly giving us the vaccine. Because that was just to show that they never wanted to give us the vaccine for us to get the cure. In February coming here, 120,000 vaccines going to come in Trinidad. But I surely all of the 1% going to get it. Right? I sure all of the 1% going to get it. Right? But we still stay, so we can still be in propaganda. But again, they say people who have allergies shouldn't take the vaccine. So again, it's whatever a doctor tell you. So right now, the CMO in Trinidad here say if you have allergies, do not take the vaccine. So if you say don't take it if you have allergies, then don't take it. If you say take it if you don't have allergies, then take the vaccine. Alright? So give me 1 Peter 4 and 11 now. Right? So we have to study to show ourselves approved. Anything people ask us on the street, what is my sister asked me the other day, what is like lust? She's saying lust is a sin. You can't watch somebody. Right? You can't watch somebody and lust over them. That's a sin. So I had to break it down for and say what is adultery, and if I was single, I could lust over she how much I want, nothing wrong with it. And that's it. If she married, however, that is what makes it sin. That is the adultery. So well, 1 Peter 4 and 11.
So like I said,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was mentioning before, like if a woman asks why a man can have more than one woman, but woman can have one man, what would be the response on that?
Okay, you break it down. First, they're going to the hierarchies. I believe it's in 1 Corinthians 11.
Right. Come on.
The Lord is over Christ, Christ is over the man is over woman. Then they're going to explain them like parents and children. Parents could have more than one children, but the children cannot have more than one parent. Right? Biological parent cannot have more than one parent. Parents could make 20, 50 children, but all those 50 children could only have those one parent. Right? There's a hierarchy because the parents above the children, just like how the man is over woman. Again, how much daughters could a man have? A man could have plenty daughters. Right? Wherever how much woman he could have plenty daughters. But those daughters could only have one father. which is his. Right? So I could go outside with 10 women and have 10 daughters. Those 10 daughters could only have one father, which is me. They cannot have different fathers, because I make them. Right? So that's how it is. It's just a hierarchy. That's just how it is. You understand? That's just how the Lord set it up. However, some woman has acted as make a man want to have another wife. Right? It's not sin if a man have no wife. If you have one woman, it's not sin. Right? But he's not evil if he has more than one woman. He's not evil. Alright? So it's just a hierarchy. Just explain that to you, you know. I just nature life, but that's some things a man can do, that's some things a woman can do. Right? Somebody breaking in the house, you know, the man, the woman are not going to be. You won't expect the woman to get up and go to see who breaking in the house.
She's stronger than yourself.
Right.
She's that body builder. And you that twin.
No, even say naturally, you know, just naturally. Even say, you know, as you see, man, she watching you, you watching she. You both I don't know if you're going to something might happen in my day. But you as a man had to get up and go. The woman is weak, as the scriptures say, you have to protect the woman. That is just nature, that is how it. Right? A man can't take care of children, a woman was created with no she could, the child could suckle, you know, the breast, and she could take care of the child. So it had things a woman could do, it had things a man could do. A man was made to go to war. Woman wasn't made to go to war. Right? Man was created to have more than one wife if he chooses to. The woman was only made to have one husband. That is basically how it is.
So like I said, right, so just to add off the start part, I will say, right, the best thing is, let's just say this, right, is that's the most I see that a man can have more than one woman, right? So like, I will use the Deuteronomy 21 and 15. So say if a man
multiple years.
That's using that straightforward and just say shop the most I.
Yeah, it's not sin. Whatever is no law, there is no sin. It's not. You understand? There is no law, there is no sin. You know? Or if you have any issues in your marriage, you just go to counsel and sort out everything out, and you know. That's how it's supposed to be. You go to counsel, you know, just sort out everything. But nobody's not supposed to walk away and leave you. Yeah.
God.
So who are the one? Is Timothy, was it? Peter? 1 Peter 4 and 11.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 4 and verse 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of the Most High.
If any man speaks, let him speak as the oracle of the Most High. Right? The oracle of the Most High, or the aura of the Most High, meaning what he speaks for God, you know, or he was the mouthpiece for the Most High. Because the Lord, he has speaks through his prophets. And how the Lord does, the Lord speaks through his prophets. Somebody look up. Okay, three things that I look up. Polygamy, monogamy, and bigamy. I think that is it, yeah. Bigamy. B-I-G-A-M-Y. I think that is it. Right? Right, so let him speak as the oracle of the Most High, right? The Most High, he does speak through us. The Lord does speak through his prophets. Right?
The meanings of the scripture?
No, the way I say the bigamy, monogamy.
I just want bigamy. I don't know if
right.
When they're ready for the bigamy, they will talk.
So, go ahead.
With the bigamy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bigamy, meaning In cultures where monogamy is mandated, bigamy is the act of entering into a marriage with one person while legally married to another.
Right. We to again this, okay?
In cultures where monogamy is mandated, bigamy is the act of entering into a marriage with one person while still legally married to another. That is from Google. I didn't take it from like the Merriam or anything like that. So
the act of going into a marriage while is legally married to somebody else.
Can.
Right. So who are the monogamy? Monogamy. We are put
Polygamy. Marriage in which a spouse of either sex may have more than one mate at the same time.
Right. Like polygamy. Right. And what is monogamy?
Monogamy. Monogamy is the state or custom of being married to only one person at a time.
So the state of being married to one person at a time. Polygamy is what I'm correct?
Polygamy. Marriage in which a spouse of either sex may have more than one mate at the same time.
Right. And bigamy is going into our next marriage while illegally married to someone else. All right. Somebody could look up again. Very difficult. Look up Julian marriage laws. I'll be right. Julian marriage laws. All right. So again, as the scripture was just reading, 1 Peter 4:11, the Lord does speak through his prophets. Right? The prophets is the mouthpiece at the Most High. Right? So what I have been taught is what my other ones and them was taught. And and they learned it from, of course, the Most High. So we all was taught the same thing coming straight down. The Most High taught, let's say Adam, he taught Moses, Christ, and all of us learned from them. Right? So again, according to the Bible, sex is marriage. Right? And a man could have more than one wife. Right? So it's our next word. I keep forgetting that word. Besides polygamy, it's our next word. It's our next word for it. I forget that word. Right? But I forget what that word is. Right? But
another word for Salah.
Yeah, it's our next word, not
another word for
not polygamy. It's our next word, similar to that. It means the man could have the more than one wife. Well, I forget what the word is. Right?
Not matrimony.
Nah. Come on, next word similar to it. Right? But bigamy is similar to what the Most High is saying. This, of course, this is a worldly thing. So when people read it, they will think marriage certificate and stuff like that. But no, this according to the Bible, sex is marriage, and a man can have more than one wife if he chooses to. That is where it is. Right? They will call that polygamy, but polygamy, as it really says, any partner, the man and the woman, right? So that was it. Our next word similar to it, we're actually seeing the man alone that have more than one. Right? But I'll go Barrett, you had the you go ahead.
Julian marriage laws. In 18 BC, the Emperor Augustus turned his attention to social problems at Rome. The Augustus social laws were badly received and were modified in AD 9 by the Lex Papia, Pop, Pa, year, named for the two bachelors consult of that year.
Yeah, click on the link and open it out. Yeah, just read that part on top. I think if you click on it.
I have something here. Let me get this.
Yeah. If you click on it, it will open up.
In 18 BC, the Emperor Augustus turned his attention to social problems at Rome. Extravagance and adultery were widespread among
the extravagance and adultery were widespread.
Yeah. Among the upper classes, marriage was increasingly frequent.
Just remember, give him marriage in ancient Rome, yeah. Just because what time I don't know what you can say. Marriage in ancient Rome. Yeah, well, you have it?
You would have like polygamy and polygamy.
Yeah, Mike.
I believe the word is polyandry in the Merriam Webster Dictionary. It's saying polyandry is the state or practice of having more than one. No, but this one's for husband.
It's the same. So polyandry and polygamy.
Yeah.
Polygamy and polyandry. Two I think
but I believe you're looking for the one for wife,
right?
Yeah, I think the third one I was saying when a man could have more than one.
Polygamy, saying the state or practice of having more than one wife or female mate at the time.
Right, polygamy, having more than one wife.
Female mate at the time.
Okay, but then that must be it.
That polyandry
right, so yeah. And how do you spell that?
Polygny.
GYNY, yeah, that is it.
Our definition here.
Go ahead.
Is the practice of marrying multiple spouses when a man is married to more than one wife at the same time.
And how do you spell that one?
POLYGA.
Yeah, I'm Tazo.
So my client was saying basically the category that our culture falls under. Because polygamy is like the whole umbrella. And then polygyny, as my client was saying, will be the one that you bring on the basically. The one where you have a man that has multiple wives. And then kind of gets right? And then polygamy will be the umbrella, like how Officer Barrett saying, like the world or the society recognizes it as polygamy like one umbrella. And polyandry will be the woman like that is Indian culture or some way back to this somewhere where this woman and she has multiple husbands. But polygamy is poly is multiple and polygamy would be the practice of multiple sexual partners. Now kind of different from the polygamy is the righteous one.
What do you say polygamy is the righteous one?
Polygamy.
Polygamy.
L-Y-G-Y-N-Y.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So like you said, I mean, just read there's some man or two on that same thing. But you say like is the most common and accepted from polygamy entailing the marriage of a man with several women. Most countries that permit polygamy are the Muslim majority countries. So
right.
The NY.
The NY.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we got that one also. Right. All right. So you have it then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
reading from Wikipedia. This is marriage in ancient Rome. Marriage in ancient Rome was a strictly monogamous institution. A Roman citizen, by law, could have only one spouse at a time.
Right, and that one monogamy means, right?
Go ahead. The practice of monogamy distinguished the Greeks and Romans from other ancient civilizations in which elite males typically had multiple wives.
So what I mean by that? What I mean by that? What I'm trying to say there now?
Basically, basically, this culture of having one wife came from the Greeks and the Romans. But other cultures, other than the Greeks and the Romans, used to practice having multiple wives. But because, yeah, I will basically say.
Right. Yeah, that is it. So basically, the white man was the only race who was saying it is wrong for a man to have more than one wife. Because white people invented the one wife for one husband.
God.
Right?
Yeah. I think when I was here, I reading something right there, and I practiced for more than one record, but then after the command the lead, right? So more or less, they were feeling like it, like when I say you can think more or less like big boys and them, having more than one buying record. Because be back over there. Back
yeah, go ahead, really back over there.
Yeah. The practice of monogamy distinguished the Greeks and Romans from other ancient civilizations in which elite males typically had multiple wives.
Right, so yeah, that is basically the same thing, you know. All the other countries, all the men them had multiple wives. It was normal. All the men and them had multiple wives. It was a normal practice. It's only the white man who just invented this one man, one wife. Right? But it was a normal thing to do throughout. Right? And also to note on that it had all sorts of religions. So it's not to say it was only biblical doctrine or whatever. So that was a normal thing throughout the earth for a man to have more than one wife. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Barrett.
Just to add to what you're saying, if you go on Google and you Google any culture outside of the white man, the ancient practices, you would see that they had multiple wives.
Yes. Yeah, that is it. Right. Somebody give me Luke 16 and 18. Right. Luke 16 and 18. So this white man, he just invented this one man, one wife. Understand? White people wanted to throw away their wife in order to get a next wife. And that is against the Most High. Right? That's what the churches and them do today. Say, all right, come and sign this marriage certificate. If you want to marry somebody else, you have to get divorced. Then she might, if he's a millionaire, she might have to get half of what you have, or whatever, however the court might see. She might send it to court and still take half or whatever it is. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So in a sense, the culture understand of the precedent is one way is the prostitution, but with regards to that, everything it looks like it ties into something immoral, very extremely immoral.
Yeah. White man, he has no soul, he has no heart, he just go around thieving. As the scripture says, that we're a fugitive and a vagabond. That's just how it is. That's called destruction, Wicked. Right. Who are the scripture there? Luke 16 and 18.
The book of Luke chapter 16 and verse 18. Whosoever putteth away his wife and marrieth another committed adultery. And whosoever married her and whosoever married her that is put away from her husband committed adultery.
Right. So Christ come now to teach you the spirit of the law. Christ come. Hey, if you put away your wife, if you leave your wife to get the next one, you committed adultery. And the man who married that woman who the other man put away, you are now committing adultery. You understand? That just goes to show, even if you put away your wife, she's still married to you. The scripture says only if the man died, then she could find somebody else. Right? So Christ come teach you the spirit of the law. Don't even push you away because you are now committing adultery. Right? And you, fella, don't marry she even though he push you away because you are now commit adultery. Right? So scripture Exodus 21 and 10. So Exodus 21 and 10.
Book of Exodus, chapter 21 and verse 10. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage, shall he not diminish?
So if he take another wife, his food, raiment, all that he shall not diminish. It's the next one, but that one might take too long. It's the next one you talk about. If he had the first wife and he hates she, and he had the next wife, he loved that one. He go get the inheritance onto the second, right? And they didn't say because he hated this wife and he loved this wife, that's a sin. It didn't say nothing like that. It didn't say you have two wives is a sin. It didn't say you have two wives and you're supposed to love the two of them like a sin. It didn't say that. Right? Things just happen that we have to go through. Counseling if you have any issues in your relationship, in marriage, to make things go on track. Yeah, that's all.
Right? For the sake of clarity, somebody who here, he hit the first wife. When our culture, what does that term mean? As opposed to someone thinking that, that this man, the man is just sleeping with somebody, he's already get bad, he wants to sleep with them. Why he?
Well, again, you have to ask them when they say hate. Break it down when they say hate. What do you mean? He beating she up when they say hate. He didn't say beating she up. He didn't like she how you like the next wife. That is all. No, you go show the other wife more love. Right? That's basically about it. Things that happen in marriage. A woman does talk to the husband sometimes, the man might just feel to talk back to she, treat she a certain way. It's basically that what they're talking about. That is what they're talking about. Not, yeah, go ahead.
So in essence, then, when I'm looking at on that, is this person how she responded to her husband? They cannot be hated or be not favored by her husband, basically.
those things just happen in marriage. It's just like a normal marriage. Just like today, how a normal marriage just be, things just happen. Right? Things that just happen, you know. Mama just happen to just fall out of love. It just happen. So that's why, you know, it's a counseling to make things go back on track. Right? That is basically what it is about. Right? All kind of different reasons. Right? All kind of different reasons. Right? So when I say hate, is not that extreme where he beating shit up and all kind of thing. Right?
I guess it. Now one more. That's something like the man when I say in the first one like whereby how we choose one, that must really be the choice. So like when a man come and he start another woman now, it's like he started spending more time with she. So the next woman, the time she was getting or something like she finds she hardly getting sex from the man, so she started realizing something in I.S.U.P.K and things like that. That's how which is also like wherever she had going on, wherever she had going on, when you first find thing. That mustn't stop and they can now it's the next one. Let's getting in the way how he was dealing with another woman, and that should not stop with the thing. So like when men pick up another woman, most of the time they see men is like they give the another woman plenty more time than the first woman itself.
So that I was saying, you know, that is how it is. That is just like a normal marriage. You know, you might find something new and fresh. You know, you get excited, so you might just kind of suck off because, you know, your first wife might just get comfortable. You know, but the new woman who come in, she always putting on makeup, she always doing this to look nice. So, you know, eventually you might just fall off. You know, I might end up loving that one more, but it does happen. Right? Just getting counsel and everything will just sort out after. You know, sweat. Right? It's on the van. Right. Who are these on the van? Bible dictionary. It's on the van Bible dictionary. Yeah, look up marriage. I think it's marriage. Yeah. Right. Who was reading? Is Barriat? You was reading the marriage and ancient Rome? Yeah, continue. Which part it was?
Just 1 second. Yeah. Marriage in ancient Rome was a strictly monogamous institution. A Roman citizen by law could have only one spouse at a time.
Just now, start off from my Roman monogamy. Yeah.
The practice of monogamy distinguished the Greeks and Romans from other civilizations in which elite males typically had multiple wives. Greco-Rome monogamy may have arisen from the
I think it's egalitarianism. I believe that's
egalitarianism
yeah.
of the democratic and publican political system of the city states.
Right. I think egalitarianism, if I'm correct, is like everybody equal. The woman equal to the man equal to the woman. Right. So that what white people and all created. This equality. Saying woman equal to man, all sorts of garbage. Right. So let's see. Yeah, continue on, Barrett.
It is one aspect of ancient Rome's culture that was embraced by early Christianity.
Embraced by early Christianity, right? Which is mark of the beast. This Christianity what white people invented. Right? That is invented by. So the Bible didn't say a man supposed to have one wife. It's a sin for him to have more than one wife. No, it's white people. And this one wife thing happened because of how to say woman power, right? Or giving woman the power, the rights that she would not have if her husband had multiple wives. So because of it, I have land. You say I have 10 acres of land, and I have 5 wives. How do I divide this land from my wives? Right? Who do I give the land to? So that is where did this one wife thing come about? How I just say you can't have more than one. You're supposed to only have one wife. So if you have land, the land will go to the wife, because who you gonna split up the land to? If you have all the wives, right? But of course they didn't know how the inheritance was in Israel. That's why the Lord speak to us and told us who we're supposed to give it to. So my firstborn son, he get inheritance, he go take care of my wives. If I have no sons and I have daughters, it will go to the firstborn daughter. Right? Even it's our hierarchy in the daughters and all too. That way I believe it's Leah. Is Jacob had the 2 daughters? It was Jacob, or he was going marrying 2 daughters, Leah and Rachel. Laban, right? And then he tell, I believe it was Jacob here. So he had to go with the eldest one first, right? And he worked 7 years just to get she, right? So he'd have a hierarchy with even with the daughters, right? Yeah, which part you is now, Barrett?
Early Christianity.
Salah here.
Good.
I just want to find out when you mentioned with the hierarchy concerning daughters now, if that is something that was an Israelite custom or something that Laban instituted for himself now, in terms of the elder marrying first.
No, that was an Israelite custom.
Israelite custom.
Israelite custom.
Right.
Right. Yeah, go
continue.
Yeah.
Which in turn perpetuated it as an ideal in later Western culture.
All right, so they keep over and over and over, continuous, till it became known to the Western culture. And you may Job 9 and 24, right? Right, and of course, you all know the Western culture is the what? The Americas, right? As the Western culture, the Americas. And Job 9 and 24.
Job 9 and 24. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges. Therefore, if not, where and who is he?
Right, the so-called white man during the the Renaissance again or the rebirth. He took over, he conquered, he whitewashed all the faces. You understand? He took over the judges. Them not supposed to be judging, them do a righteous judgment. You understand? We supposed to be the saints at the most high. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? Not the white man, but he took over the earth. Right now, he control the oil and gas, everything he controls. Earth is given into the hands of the wicked. The white man controls the whole planet Earth. That's what I was saying here. It was perpetuated as an ideal in the later Western culture. I was talking about the Americas. Right? The white man. He perpetuated this one man, one woman. But it wasn't so back in the days. Back in the days, it was never so. Men always used to have multiple wives. In all the races on youth, men used to have multiple wives. Right? But this white man who took over, he said, nah, one man, one woman. Right? And it had a reason for that we could get into today. Hopefully tonight we'll get into it. And for you women today, who does argue with white people that a man supposed to only have one wife is a selfish woman. Right? Woman who does argue that she's very selfish. Because a woman rather see half of the population of women single with no man and no children and no land and nothing, just so that she could feel special about herself. You understand? So woman who arguing and saying, nah, one wife, one woman, she's selfish. She's just selfish and she be, Margaret.
Yeah, that's to add on what you're saying. I think the last survey that they did was like 10 to 1 in Trinidad. So that practice of one wife is just suffering sisters.
Yeah, suffering them. All those sisters want to be special too. You understand? All them sisters want to be special. So all those men who are arguing today, they're selfish. And again, it's the white man who perpetuated that. Go all along into Christianity. And now I see a lot of women that they love Christianity. They rather listen to the pastor than to listen to their own husband. Yeah. Sure.
When you're seeing like study to be a self-food, right? Now when you start to bring them scriptures to them women go start to say the white man could have more than one woman. And when you start to put them all the scriptures that they know seen and things, the Bible and things. So now they start off sweaty and one thing. When now they bring it to them, they get quiet. The next thing will come out them out and they say like the when that self-spirit, the next thing come out them out, but after them realize they can't win these scriptures, they can't win the most that man can have more than one woman. They just come out and say, well, they have to get you equally.
Yeah, well, that's what I had just brought up with the word. What was what I had brought up? Egalitarianism. Yeah, and all that they brought up. Gotta be treated equally. So all that people, all that they get from the church, which is something just wicked and evil. Because a woman is not equal to a man. Right? Look, I believe Captain Prasher brought out the other day on Facebook. It had a transgender woman. Right? There's a man, but we just put on breast and long hair. But they say he could play in the women's sports. Right? And they say all the transgenders and them beating up the woman and them in the women's sports. That's what, because they see transgender, they see he's a woman. So they allow him to win women's sports and play and beat them up. So I say not to say man is not equal to woman. So they can't, it's not no equality there. Right? It's not no equality there. Okay, who are the sexist marriage scriptures? We should go into that. We don't have time to All right, but Barrett, continue to read because you might run out of time. Continue to read Barrett. Which part? Yeah. Right. It also has something called the illegitimacy and the legitimacy in ancient Rome. Right, in Israel, we had no issues or concern of illegitimacy and all those kind of things, because we all know that once he is the firstborn, he gets the inheritance. Right, so all those people, like when I say the illegitimacy is somebody who has a child outside of their marriage. Right, in ancient Rome, that's how it was, and an illegitimate child can't get no inheritance because he was outside of the marriage. Yeah, Barry, go ahead. Which part it was?
Marriage had mythical precedence, starting with the abduction of the submarine woman, which may reflect the archaic custom of bride abduction.
Right, bride abduction. You all know what I mean? Where is that? The bride abduction. Go ahead.
I'm not too sure if they will this particular part of because now the one where the might say them stole these pretty safe them over them, and when I make them and then try to free up the fathers them afterwards.
Right, but the bride abduction is what? The bride abduction, yeah.
When the officers, the might say they went and run with these Syrian camps and they stole their daughters out to marry them. And then they try to bribe the fathers them afterwards. They actually rape the wives.
Right, so that is it. That is the bride abduction, These people going in and thieving the wives, raping them and do a bride abduction, marriage and marrying them. But of course, rape is not marriage because marriage. You can find it, Master?
Yeah,
marriage.
okay.
Yeah, simple. Read it.
Marriage in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Marriage is an intimate personal union to which a man and a woman consent, consummated, and continuously nourished by sexual intercourse, and perfected in a lifelong partnership of mutual love and commitment.
Right, so it's a consensual. That what you say, right? Right, consensual. So marriage is consent. Basically, she had said yes. But this bride abduction is when she ain't giving no consent, they just going and they're raping her. Right? So what was going on here now with the abduction of the Sabian wives? Right? Is basically what Tazwa we were saying is correct with these. I think the Sabians is Japhet. Yeah, Japhet and people.
95% sure what.
Yeah, that is Japan. So I want to say the Sabians, they did not want to have these devils, I should say. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks about. Right? A devil is just a deceiver. So the Sabians did not want to have these white people to marry into their family. Right? We could look up Sabians and find the stories later, but the time has run out. So the Sabians didn't want to have these white people marry into their family. Right? So the abduction for marriage is Roman customs right. Right? Now today from Rome, they do that in certain parts of Rome. Right? Abduction for marriage. Certain parts of Rome today they do that. But white people or the Romans did not want the Sabians to kill them. Right? So after they kidnapped their woman to marry them, they made a promise to get them money and land and house and everything honorable in the marriage, right? Because the Sabian fathers and them was going to kill out these white people for abducting the Sabian daughters, right? So the Sabian fathers was going to kill all these white people, right? So
yes, sir.
go ahead.
Just touching on the Sabian, something that's coming into my head now. It have a part in Joel 3 when he say, I will sell your sons and daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, a people far off, for the Lord had spoken it. So basically, I now realize that the Lord going to get them back judgment in that day.
Right.
By the white man be sell back into the hands of the Sabians and them.
Right. Yeah. That's basically where it is going. So all right, stop painting this, but we went to Romulus and Reverse. All right, so let me see. All right, so white people or the Romans did not want to have these Sabians to kill them after they had kidnapped the woman to get them to marry. Right, so they promised money and land and everything in the marriage. Right, that was their democracy, that was their republic. Right, so they made the woman egalitarianism to them, or they made the woman equal to them. The white man made the woman equal to them, right? Or if not, the Sabians would have killed them out. So they made her equal so that if the white man dies, she go get everything. That's why they made them equal to them. Right? Because the white man came into the land because again he's a vagabond and a fugitive. So he's just going from land to land. Coming to the Sabian land, abducted the Sabian daughters and them. Sabian fathers go to kill the white man and say, hey, all right, no, hold up. She gonna be equal to me. She go have a house, car, money, land, everything, horses, sheep, goats. She go have everything, right? Once she dies, she go and get everything. She equal to me, right? So the Sabian fathers didn't kill out the white people for that because they knew that, all right, well, if eventually he dies, my daughter will get everything and we're gonna be rich. So all right, we ain't go kill you for abducting my daughters. We ain't go kill you. We go leave you alone because we know once they die, she will get everything and we will be rich. Alright?
I get it.
Go ahead.
And now I know you when I check back out there, the white man they are true if I want to, but when I check that he really marking that party, right? So not this he pick up men white man was he are wrong them to the way he died and men and them daughter. He said say man they say what I want is about so she and daughter. He naturally went for the daughter, he marking them. That's how we see in movie that marking moment to rape them. Right. He naturally went and pick up these women and them and rape them and think the same way to say marking for a long time. And rape them.
Yeah. How is it? It is given to the hands of the wicked, as the scripture said. That was his democracy. Basically, he's doing the same thing today, as I say. That was his democracy. Right? It worked for them back then, and it's working for them today. Right? They was able to join together and form a republic by making their wives equal to them. Right? Which means the husband could not get another wife. Right? Because she was the legitimate wife. Right? So meaning she was not a baby. Right? You know how in Israel we just have the saying, she's my baby. That's how Israelites talk. So now we cannot have as many babies as we want to. Right? I'm wise talking about, right? We cannot have as many babies as we want to. You can't have as many wives as you want to know in this white man's world, right? In his heaven, in white man's heaven. That's just how we said about that, how his democracy is, right? He made the woman equal to him, and that is how his democracy was, right? She was like a business partner, right? And he could only be with her, right? So the Sabian said, okay, because when he dies, we know everything. We go to her, and all of us will get rich. So the Sabian fathers didn't kill out the white man, all right? Holy matrimony, I believe that means mother. Holy matrimony, it means mother. And you can look it up in matrimony is mother. We read on it, it's saying that. Right? So yeah, that is basically which is about which part you is Barrett? Which part you was Barrett?
Doctrine of the Sabian woman, which many reflect the archaic custom of bride abduction. Milos and his band of male immigrants were rejected, called Newbin the legal rights to intermarriage from the Syrians.
Right, so somebody who numbers 27 and 3. So you all know who's Romulus, right? You all know the story about Romulus, right? So the story about Romulus is in a nutshell about what happened. Well,
Easy progenitor Rome.
Right.
The first king.
Right. Yeah. So killing his brother, and right, he killing his brother was Romulus and Remus. Is Remus? If I'm pronouncing it correct? Right. And he killed his brother, and what the story is. The numbers 27, right? Yeah.
Numbers chapter 27, verse 3. Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against the Lord, in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin, and had no sons. You know?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect. Thank you so much. Right, yeah. Read it again from verse 3.
Numbers chapter 27 and verse 3. Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against the Lord, in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin, and had no sons.
Right, so basically the story here now is a man. Then he had no sons. Right, but how it's supposed to be in Israel? If a man has sons, his inheritance goes to the firstborn son. If he dies, the firstborn son dies, it goes to the next son, etc. Right, that's how it's supposed to be in Israel. But if he has no sons, what would happen? This is what we're reading about here now. Right, our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against the Lord. Right, but he died, and his sons, he died, and he had no sons. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family? Because he had no son? Give unto us, therefore, a possession among the brethren of our father.
All right. Okay, so these we're talking about in a nutshell. These Korah, right? Korah was one of the men who was against the Mosiah in the wilderness. Right? He was one of the men who was against the Mosiah in the wilderness. And what we're going to read about here now is these daughters who fathers died in the wilderness. Right? But he was not in the company of them that came up against Moses. Right? He wasn't in the company of them that came up against Moses. He died of natural causes. This Korah fella, he was one of them who was against the Mosiah in the wilderness. Right? So we're going to read in verse 4, right?
On to verse 5. That's not read verse 4. You want to read verse 4 again?
Yeah, we remember verse 4.
Numbers chapter 27 and verse 4. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family? Because he hath no sons? So because he hath no son? Give unto us, Salakia, therefore, a possession among the brethren of our father.
Right, so that's what the daughters and I'm saying, right? Why should the name of our fathers be done away from his family? Because he have no son. The daughters saying that. Saying, hey, give us a possession, you know, of our father. Or the daughters and them saying. Go ahead.
Okay, verse 5. And Moses brought their cause before the Lord.
Right, so Moses brought the causes before the Mosiah. Right, to say what these girls and them, these daughters, this is what they're saying, you know, they made sense. You understand? They're making sense, you know. The man didn't have no sons, he had daughters. So what will happen to the possession now? You understand? Right here in Trinidad, if a wife gets the inheritance in Israel, right? If a wife gets the inheritance, right, in Israel, how it's supposed to be is your son or your daughter. Right? That was supposed to be either your son or your daughter. Because it is their responsibility, as I was saying before, to take care of the wife or the wives. Right? Take care of the wives and take care of the father house. That's how it was supposed to be. Son had to take care of the father who died, his wives, and take care of the father house. Right? When them get the inheritance. Right? So them go take care of the land, the crops, the horses, the goats, sheep. And them is going to go take care of everything. All the daughters, if it have no son. Alright, take care of the man wives. That's how it's supposed to be. So Moses saying, no, these daughters and them, they have a cause. They're making sense. They didn't have no son. So who to get inheritance to? And right there, they should have said, well, we're getting inheritance to the wives, but they didn't say that. Right? They say give it to the daughters, right? So the daughters have a cause. So, yeah, go ahead.
This would have been when Moses was gathering the soldiers and them, right? The officers are like 50s and all them thing, right? We say the smaller matters would have been judged this one like and the bigger matters would have carried to the Mosiah. This one like a big matter here because carried to the Mosiah.
Mm-hmm. Right. I was just speaking about so. Again, why they didn't carry to the wife? As I was saying before, you know, they can't just go to the wife, but they didn't do that because only the sons or the daughters get it because of the father. Why they don't carry to the wife is because again, the husband has multiple wives. So then, for who gets the money, who gets the horses, who gets the inheritance, right? There's no hierarchy of the wives. There's no hierarchy of the wives. So all of them are the same. All of them is like equal because there's no hierarchy for the wives. But there's a hierarchy for the daughters. as well as the sons, as I was just saying with Laban, right, and his two daughters, because the I believe it was Jacob. Jacob had like the younger one, but he gave him the firstborn, right, which is the elder. He gave him the elder one because it have a hierarchy with daughters. So because of a hierarchy with daughters, the firstborn daughter is supposed to get the inheritance. All right, it have no hierarchy with wives. That is why they didn't give it to the wives. It have no hierarchy. And what them is the seed. All right. Let me check time already.
So like I said, we can use this
Go ahead.
We can use this and also show that when the husband died again, the woman and them could go on to the wife and them could go on to other people if they want to if they see and with that one will say that if the and then after it have the one man saying if she's single, she will pass on secretary that the woman that want to that man and all do when they die and all.
Yeah, because that's show me scripture where it's saying that. Show me scripture where it's saying if the husband died, the woman could get an next husband. Right? I believe they say if she have no children, I believe if she have no children, she could go on to the brother. Right? So that is basically what it's about, right? So the daughter does get inheritance. Right, that it had to be here. Moses take the cause, daughter could get inheritance, right? And it's the daughter's job to take care of all the wives. Alright. So anyway, I didn't have a question. What you talk about?
So like I said. I was asking that question last week and John 9 and 4.
Right.
To get some more clarity on that question.
Right, the man. Alright, I'll write it down, right? I'll get some clarity on that.
Right,
right?
Common time.
So this Sunday for sure. And then
so like I said, just one more thing. I don't want to get a clarification on this, right? Now, if he has sex on the Sabbath, which is like, after Friday sundown, right? And for like street teachings, right? And know that according to the law that they're unclean. But what I want to find out now in that matter, if there's any part of the Sabbath service where I may be, Shema on the outside of like Shema or on the street teaching, if it's supposed to be in any part of the street teachings or the Sabbath service.
If you have sex,
yeah.
After what you say after sex? What you say again?
No, like on the Sabbath.
On the Sabbath.
Right. For street teaching or for the Sabbath service.
Yeah, I think you will be unclean until 6 p.m.
No part of the service at all.
Yeah, 6 p.m.
I know you're gonna be unclean, but I wanted to find out.
Yeah.
If there is no part of the service, will be like in the congregation.
Yeah.
Not on the table sometimes, but saying like on the congregation or wherever the case might be. Shema or wherever, not supposed to be no part of the assembly.
Yeah.
And street teachings also.
Street teaching also, yeah.
Come. Just wanted to confirm that. Yeah. So what?
Yeah.
So okay, sir.
Yeah.
So it basically fixed it. It is fixed to any aspect of teaching. But they say I have to go on to do something and in regards to the school, they might have to go on a council call or something, I think like that. Probably on somebody who have any cases. You could still do it like normal, but just anytime you have to go on the podium or any aspect of teaching.
Doing the work at the Lord, so teaching in the street, Sabbath service.
Right, you can't be among the brethren.
Right, yeah.
Like in the congregation, like how we is here.
You're unclean till 6 p.m.
Come on, God. You still out here?
I never know who else to appreciate that.
Right. I could still get some clarification that I believe I heard Jeremiah Hyman. I'm not too sure.
Right.
Was saying, Christ come and that is small time, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
let me get clarification on it, but I know for sure you're unclean till 6.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But then I just was trying to get the meaning behind it to say I'm unclean, and then you know what I mean. It's like you're unclean, but then it's just like I said, because then it must have an application to being unclean, and that's what I already asked. If I'm unclean, and somebody asks you're unclean today, you're unclean. To what end? Then it must have like parameters for just as I bring it out.
Yeah.
So the clarity is what I want to get to be able to have an application for them. Yeah. So what?
Okay,
sure, man. Yeah, that's all good.
If I may, because the person along the line to that, what it's not saying as well, right? So the spirit you want to get behind it. Let's say that if you is the only man and have on the table or something to be able to put in a spot to teach, because that spirit that you know, I would trump you have them to stay away from the congregation unless they absolutely have to.
Yeah, so but that's saying the spirit behind it. Let me get some more clarification. Because I know you're unclean, you're supposed to stay. You are unclean, that's what the scriptures say, but I'm going to find out for sure, because I did hear General Hyman talking about that. When Christ come back now, that I was seeing him. I don't want to quote what he was saying, but I'll get some clarification. Right? But the scripture did say unclean till 6 p.m. till the evening. Right? But I would get some clarification. Right? Them two things here. Right? And that is it?
Yeah, come on, that is it.
Everybody? Yeah. Alright, good. With that, let's pass over to Peace and Tazo.
Security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street out of New York, under command of GEN.YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the word. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After the 6 months period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Means 10 in Hebrew and it's pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of an increase the Lord gives you give to the church department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation is the Feast of Purim. All right, the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month, that's Thursday, February 25th, and Friday, 26th of February, 2021. You can find this in the book of Numbers, Esther, Salakia, chapter 9, verses 20 to 31. Remind Akim, which means brothers, and Akwatian, which means sisters, to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and materials. If everybody wants to be a trooper in the school, then it's to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, like shirts, like pants, like headband or scarf, and with that beside marching, which means to stand upon the Akodam, right on face east. Awena. Shema Shemai. Kodash. Ayah. Shamka. Yahweh. Malakwat Ka. Shemaya, no, come, you won't, Wasalapino, Kabubatno, Kasalapno, Kabubatino, Tabaino, Saiwan, Above, Oshaino, Mayan, Ra, Aya, Maka, Amalakwa, Mahal, Adabara, Walamian, Amal.
What we see in English was our Father, art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, your power, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
All right, this is the prayer for the blessing instruction in school. Barakatay Hawa, Bayawashai, Amakal, Wa'ala'ay, Madazabi'a, Al-Wafiyan, Al-Wafiyan, Asranian, Apatizanian, Apiyalian, Magwatian, Hawa, Bashem, Yoshai, Wa'ala'ay.
In English, what we said was, blessed be Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angel, Commander General Yahanna, General, Captain, Officer, Trooper, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you. So be it.
All right, this is your copy. Pray for the power. Yahweh, Bashem, Awashai, Babakasha, Batananaw, Akab, Rabah, Kamakala, Kamarawa, Akab, Atahab, Amatzarim, Akab, Nakuyam, Matin, Akab, Alrakwa, Atamal, Bashem, Yoshai, Waraman.
The English of this said was Yahweh, the name of Yahushua. Please give us the power. Power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the leper. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. Alright. The I.S.U.P.K curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school, send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel, refuse to give to the schools, force their riches, and send to thy sanctuary, send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites, and the nation, and the drug dealers, the court system, prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, Skinheads, Fuzzy Kumatazi, gay movement, lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA Space Program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet and the airways, cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us and bring self-destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way, or try to stop us from broadcasting your word throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahweh, Michael, Gabriel come down with the flying sword, punish all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you. So be it.
Right, let's Israel in Hebrew first. Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Rabbanu, Rashal, Abiyah, Sapari, Rock, Magun,
Pasiankobi, the Shikran Killer, all the brothers and sisters fighting to come into the truth, all the brothers and sisters in the truth.
Commanding General Yahanna, General, Captain, Officers, Troopers, Sisters, Children, destroy the Israel, brothers and sisters fighting to come into the truth. I.S.U.P.K worldwide and their families, all 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, I.S.U.P.K Trinidad and Tobago and their families, Balthazar, Tamar.
Commanding General Yahanna, General, Captain, Officers, Troopers, Sisters, Children, all the destroyed of Israel, Kayarona, Napash, Shariah, Indian family, Muslim family,
Commanding General Yahanna, all the generals, all the captains, all the officers, all the troopers, all the students, all the fighting that come to the truth, Shamka, Kaya, Para. Generals, captains, officers, troopers, sisters, children, destroy the Israel.
I.S.U.P.K worldwide.
Balthazar, John family, Philip family, Lexus family.
Next one. Commanding Generals, Captains, Officers, Troopers, Students, Sisters, Children, I.S.U.P.K worldwide and families. Next one.
Commanding Generals, Captains, Officers, Troopers, Sisters, Children, and all the fighting community.
Next one.
Brothers and sisters in I.S.U.P.K, brothers and sisters fighting coming through, babies in I.S.U.P.K, family, Zion, Daniela, Amelia, Sheila, Trisha, Nima, Khadija, Chantel.
Next one.
Brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K, brothers and sisters fighting to come into the truth, and mercy on the destroyed of Israel, the Bawa, Alicia, Aliyah, Teresa, Joyce.
Bashim Yawashai, Wadaman.
What we said was, Lord, in the name of Yahweh, bless us, and Israel, and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect all of us. In the name of Yahweh, thank you. So be it.
Southeast return. The Israel going to give the teacher courtesy salute. Israel, I imagine Shabbat. I imagine Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. Sir, Salakia, I'm Yajimata, sir. Israel going to give sisters online a courtesy salute. Israel, I imagine Shabbat. I imagine Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yajimata, dismiss. Contribution.